I'm very new to Canada. It's been only 3 months here, and before this, however, I went on a Southeast Asia trip for 3 months or 5 months actually, and I met a lot of people, a lot of Western people, and I learned a lot. And I have still a lot to learn, but I can share the things that I learned. And I think as Indians, we need to recognize these things and do something about this. So for that reason, I'm creating this channel. So, so when I was in Southeast Asia, I approached a lot of, you know, white girls over the period like maybe 2 to 3 months, and maybe like hundreds. I don't know, but I was getting no success at all. It seemed like either they don't like me at the first sight, or when I tell them that I'm from India, they lose interest, and it just was very frustrating. And I had a lot of arguments with my friends before going on the trip that, oh, there's no racism, we are judging them, we're judging these people, and it's in our own mind. There's no such thing as racism, only you are having these self-limiting beliefs. And this was now shattering for me to see that happen with me, having that same experience. And so I know what we Indian people go through when we go to these countries, and to some extent I found some solutions to it. And so that's why I'm creating this channel also. So so I was struggling this a lot. And then when I was in Bali, Indonesia, and was the Canggu beach in Bali, I approached this Danish girl, and we hit off. And she was interested in psychology, I was interested in psychology, and this conversation just flowed. And it kind of turned out my first white girl ever I dated. So, and it got on a little bit serious also later on. She came to India, and we considered a very long-term prospects for some time, uh, even considered marriage. I told my parents, she told her parents. But of course, it did not work out in the long run. We were ultimately travelers. But what I'm saying is that got me two sides, like where first I was failing, and then I got to meet one person, and then I learned a lot from her, and I got a deeper insight about what I was doing wrong, how I need to change, and why I need to change also, because we are proud Indians. Do we really need to change ourselves? But all these things I'm gonna talk about in this video series, in this channel. But this first video is about the first thing that I ever learned about why these white girls have been rejecting me all along. And this is from this Danish girl, straight from her. She, like, I did not even ask. Actually, I asked her, but she knew that herself. So this was a conversation I had with her. It started like I told her. So it was on the early days, we weren't so committed to each other, and we could be more open-minded and talk more openly without being politically correct in a relationship. So I told her about how I have applied for Canada immigration, and I'm waiting for that decision. And if I go, then I will try out these clubs and the nightlife, which I have never done in my life, and I'll be quite excited to meet some interesting girls there. And she said that very curtly that, oh, what are you thinking? You cannot get any girls in Canada. And I said, what? Like, that's a pretty strong statement to make. She said, yeah, but white girls do not like to date Asian or Indian men. I said, what the fuck? It just, like, kind of like, all my fears just hit me hard. Like, oh, really? Is it true? Like, I can never get these girls? I can never, ever, as an Indian man, live proudly in a Western world? Like, all my friends were actually telling the truth. And it was a very hard thing to accept. So I did not accept. Of course, I asked her more questions, like, no, I do not understand, like, how do you say that? Like, um, like, are you saying that they are racist? She said, of course, Danish people are very racist. And I said, you also like that, but you're different. Well, no, I'm also racist. And in Denmark, nobody dates. There are a lot of not a lot, but there are good quantity of brown people from Syria, and Danish people do not ever date them. It's very well known, and the people like to date among themselves. And I, I was trying to find flaws in the logic, and I said, yeah, okay, when people go to Denmark, they try to fit into your culture and do not look like very assertive, but it's different in Asia, you know. He said, no, Danish people do not like to date Asian men because they. So I said, yeah, because tell me, because that's the interesting part I want to learn. So I said, because, and this is very important for you guys, remember to just remember this very well, because Asian men put white women on pedestal. Yeah, and I do not want to be liked for being a white woman. I want to be liked for being myself, for who I am. So kind of it made sense to me, because this very common thing you hear from girls, that I want to be liked for being myself, and kind of hit me. I said, yeah, it makes sense. And she gave an example of, like, earlier I was an Indonesian guy approached me and she complimented me that you have such a nice white skin, and it cringed her, and I can understand why. And yeah, maybe we also have complimented someone before like that. It's in our culture to like fair skin, right? So, but still I was being critical. I said, okay, makes sense, but how can you say that girls in Canada or in Denmark will not date? You are here, so you know that. But you yourself said there are very few Indians or Asians in Denmark, because Danish immigration policies do not give work visas very easily. So there are very few Asians or Indians. Then how can you generalize it to Asians or Indians in these countries? So she said, every girl above that, I don't know what age she said, but maybe age of 25 or 20, has been to Asia, and they talk among themselves, and trust me, they know. Oh. All right, hard to argue with that, man. All right, so yeah, so then I asked her like more cross questioning, which will be the topic of the future videos. But this, my friends, is the biggest, most important mistake we Indian men are doing, and we need to correct, is to don't put white people on pedestal. All right, guys, remember that they are human beings and they want to be treated as human beings. Okay, take care.